What's going on, people? Here to talk about week 4 of the Hero Pass challenges. Like the other weeks, they are fairly straightforward in how to accomplish them. We've got Summon 30 Imperials. If you're not aware, Imperial, you can see the tag on the top level of the card. Things like Scouting Patrol, Imperial Reinforcements will summon lots of Imperials for you. This one's pretty easy completion as long as you just make sure to include some Imperials in your deck or cards that summon Imperials. Play 50 Endurance cards. This one can be not tricky, but slower depending on what kind of deck you're playing. Obviously, since we have a challenge for win 10 versus matches with Spell Sword, I would suggest killing multiple birds with one stone by playing a Spell Sword deck. However, the most commonly run Spell Sword deck is a version of like a token Spell Sword, which runs very few, if any, Endurance cards. So you either should tech in a couple Endurance cards just to get the process started, or consider running a mid Spell Sword or control Spell Sword that will run some more Endurance cards. Thankfully, a lot of Endurance cards are incredibly playable in mid-range strategies. We're talking things like Windkeep Spell Sword. There's the 2/3 Orc. I can't remember the name, but it's a 2-cost 2/3 Orc. You've got Haunting Spirit, Young Mammoth, Shadowfen Priest. You got lots of playable Endurance cards. This one shouldn't be too hard. Next up, we've got Play 20 Supports. So this one is going to be probably pretty slow for most decks. There are not a ton of great supports in the game at the moment, so most decks either run no supports, or the few decks that do run supports are typically running 2 or 3 copies of Divine Fervor, or if you're a control deck, you're running maybe Goldbrand and or Orb of Varamina. So in general, you're talking you probably have a max of 2 to 4 supports in your deck, and if you're playing 1 per game, that's rare. So this one's going to take a little while, and this may be one that you have to build a deck for, just to toss a bunch of supports into your deck, get 20 played, but that would be after you finish everything else. Win 10 matches with the Spell Sword, pretty self-explanatory. It's just going to happen over time as long as you build a somewhat viable Spell Sword deck. And the final one, the one that is probably the most tricky, just because this card doesn't see a ton of play, is Summon 10 Slaughterfishes. If you are not aware, you summon a Slaughterfish by casting the card... Oh, I can't spell. Slaughterfish Spawning. It's a 4-cost action. We'll summon a Slaughterfish in each lane. So since the Battle Pass challenge is to summon 10 Slaughterfish, you have to cast this action 5 times. I would say probably toss that into like your mid-range Spell Sword that you're running, or just toss it in any deck afterwards, and you should be able to complete that sooner rather than later. The only one that I think is really going to take some time is going to be playing 20 supports, but you know, you can always force that if and when the time comes. So yeah, that's it, guys. This is another week of challenges that are pretty doable. The supports and Slaughterfish are going to take a little bit of concerted effort, but everything else you should finish just with a solid mid-range or token Spell Sword deck. But yeah, that's going to be it for now. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.